Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and you know the seriousness of the school to prison pipeline problem that exists in America. The incarceration rate in America has gotten out of control, and what's even worse about it is that most of the people being incarcerated are people of color. We've got to find solutions, and one person who has really put forth some powerful solutions is Mr. Rahiem Shabazz. Excuse me. Rahiem is the creator of the new documentary Elementary Genocide, which is very popular, doing extremely well, and I'm happy that it's doing well because we need people really talking about this issue. So I want to ask you, brother, how you doing today?
I'm great, brother. I'm great.
Good, man. Good. So,
Just welcome the opportunity to sit here and talk with you, brother.
oh man, you know what? The opportunity, the honor, and the pleasure is all mine. Because I respect you because I've had a chance to talk to you, and I respect you because you're a real black man. And unfortunately, sometimes that can become an endangered species in a world where everybody's trying to morph and fold and bend to be what somebody else wants them to be, what corporate America wants them to be, what white America wants them to be. But you are a person that's deeply rooted in your people, and I've seen you take stands on principle that led me to respect you from that first conversation. So let me ask you this, man. Your documentary, Elementary Genocide. I haven't had a chance to watch the whole thing yet. It's coming in the mail. I'm really pumped up. But your film is doing really well. I mean, people around the country are really digging this. What's the reception been like when you've taken this around the nation?
The reception has been overwhelming. Anywhere that we go, I want to say 8 out of 10 places that we'd already visit is standing room only. We always sell out. And one of the factors that indicate to me that this is a hot topic and people are gravitating towards it, is resonating with the audience, is that after the screening, we always do a panel discussion, and the questions that they ask and how they engage. And, not only do they ask questions, but they also offer solutions too. So people know what the problem is, and the documentary is more so as a call to action. And like I was telling you earlier, here in Atlanta, in Charlotte, and in New York, after the screening, a lot of times we rent the venue for 3 to 4 hours. Well, we take the conversation outside, and sometimes we be outside 3, 4 more hours, just building and just strategizing. So on that, just for those principles alone, I know people are excited, and it's being well received. And like I said, it's a call to action for everybody to get involved, because it's going to take all of us to dismantle the school to prison pipeline. It ain't going to be just the documentary that do it. It's going to be the people.
Now, what made you create this film? What were some of the things that you've seen in the school to prison pipeline that led you to say, I'm going to dedicate a lot of time to making a film that's really going to highlight this issue?
Well, me, just like many of my peers, I ended up on the wrong side of the law, but it was through education that I seen a new definition of life. And then whatever was unimaginable became reality, and I think that had I not had the education that I did have and I was able to receive, that I probably would still be in jail. Unfortunately, it took me to go to jail to get the education that I did get. But while I was in there, 85% of the people cannot read. If you think it's bad out here, it's even worse inside prison, because that's where they end up. And you have a high concentration of people that's just basically functionally literate, and this contributes to the recidivism rate. And, if you look at the statistics, it says those that graduate from college that was previously incarcerated has less recidivism rate. So everything always centered back to education. It's like that today. It been like that during slavery. This is why slaves was forbidden to learn how to read and write and things of that nature. With education, I think at least 75% of our problem will be solved. The other 25% is us becoming entrepreneurs and doing for ourselves.
Okay, so it's interesting. One of the things I could say that that I've always said, and I'd love to get your take on this. Is I've always said that, when you walk away from education, when you walk away from economic empowerment, you're walking right towards slavery. You're walking into situations where you don't control your destiny; other people control your destiny. Uh,
Absolutely.
so it sounds like that. It sounds like you think in a similar way, because you just mentioned entrepreneurship, owning our own business. You also mentioned the educational thing. So, as you made this film, what I've noticed is that good filmmakers like yourself, it seems like making important films like this is transformative for you in some way. You learn something as you go along. What did you learn as you were talking to the people in the film? I saw you talking to Killer Mike, the rapper, who's a brilliant guy. I saw you talking to Dr. Umar Johnson and so many other people that I respect. What did you kind of learn and figure out about this issue as you were making this film?
I learned that everybody understands the problem. Everybody has a solution to the problem, and no one solution is right. All of them cohesively together is what make it right. And I think that's what a lot of people will learn from this documentary, because there's no arguing nothing that Killer Mike said. There's no arguing nothing that Umar Johnson said or anybody else said. Like, no one can come with any disputed facts and say, you know what, that's not true. So everything everybody's saying, I learned that, it's the truth, and there's no one way to the solution to the problem. We got to take what everybody said and everybody's solution and compound it together.
So, in terms of solutions, and that's one thing that impressed me about your documentary, is that you're not just documenting the problem. You're documenting the problem, the solutions, and also at your screenings, you have very active people that are working on solutions to the problem. What are some of the best solutions that you've seen, or some of the best things you've seen kind of come out of these screenings, which almost sound like they're like community forums as well, where people are taking on this important issue? What's kind of come out of that?
One of the things that come out of the screen is community action. We getting a lot of people involved in their local PTAs. We having people try to get on the school board to see actually what's going on inside the school system. Because if you don't show up at the school board meeting, then you're not going to know what's going on in the school. So we getting a lot of people to do that, and a lot of people are more interested in the alternative to public education. Because the reality of it is we might not be able to fix the public school system. And if that's the reality, where do we go from here? Because this is a system that has been in existence long before us. So one of the solutions is homeschooling. So a lot of people are learning about homeschooling. There's an organization that will give you free computers. There's online courses. And you don't have to be certified to be a homeschooler. If you're teaching, like the formative years. When you get into high school and different things like that, you have to have certain type of training. And these training is actually free. And one of the things that I just learned, because I'm still learning as I go along, that in the state of Seattle, that they pay you to homeschool your kids. So that's something that we need to look into and have that implemented in every state. Because if it could pass in Seattle, it definitely can pass here. In Atlanta, in Chicago, in New York, where there is a disparity in the learning process of Black and Latino youth as opposed to white youth.
I think that's a very good point. In fact, if there was any two things that I personally consistently hang my hat on, it is, and I'm sure I said something to that effect when you and I spoke as part of the documentary. In case people don't know, I'm actually in the film too. I forgot to mention that, but that's a side note. The real stars of the film are this brother here and Umar Johnson and some of the other amazing people. But two things that I hang my hat on are one.
Now you one of the stars. Your name's on the poster.
Well, hey, I appreciate that, brother. I was just happy to be a part of it, man. I was, it's funny. I'm such a grouch that whenever I get asked to be in a documentary, my first reaction is always no. Not because I don't want to do it, but because there's always something else to do. and my mind is always somewhere else. But fortunately, I have a business manager who says, "No, you need to do this," and she's the boss. So I say, "Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it." And it was great for me because when I got a chance to meet you and talk to you, I said, "Man, this is a cool guy." And the funny thing is that happens to me all the time. In that I've met some other great people similar to like Lamar Tyler from Black and Married with Kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of the documentaries I did with Moguldom, the one on Jay-Z, and there was another one on called Gunland about the Chicago violence, and so a few others. After it's done and I see the finished product, I'm like, wow, you know, this is really good. I'm glad to be a part of this. But the funny thing is that before the fact, I'm like, man, I don't want to do that stuff. I got stuff to do, you know. But I'm so glad we met, man, because I almost feel like I would have definitely talked myself out of a blessing by not having a chance to talk to you. Because I have so much respect for you, and I want people to definitely know that. Now, so to make that quick point I was making about two things that I hang my hat on. One is that every black child should be homeschooled, even if they go to school somewhere else. So even if you don't take your child out of the public school, you have evenings, you have weekends, you have summertime. That's your opportunity to really give your child the education they need. You can get everything you need on the internet. There's more information on the internet than in any university in the history of the world. You can get everything you need to know on Google.com. You can learn how to be a rocket scientist on Google if you're diligent about it. The second thing is we have to have our own businesses. Even if you work for somebody else, you got to have a side income stream, even if it's small. And if you're really ambitious, you can go create something on your own. And we have to support each other in that route. Like I've noticed that there are so many homeschooling networks now. Brother Umar Johnson, who I'll defend to the end of time. You know, I saw he had some controversy a while back, and I just stood firm, and I said what this brother does that is good far outweighs anything he does that can be criticized. So I'm always going to support Umar Johnson to the end of time because I love what he's doing for black men and black boys. Nobody else is doing anything like that. All these other scholars are too busy trying to get paid from these big white universities, and they're forgetting about their people, and that's just unacceptable. So anyway, the other thing is that we have to support each other in that. So with homeschooling, you've got networks. You don't have to do it all by yourself. You have scenarios where 5 or 6 parents will all agree to homeschool each other's kids on certain days. Of course, you have to make sure you trust the people that your kids are with. And same thing with entrepreneurship. I think independent black businesses have to connect and support each other. You know, so that was why, for example, with us doing our thing in Your Black World, I was so diligent about connecting with you when the film came out and saying, okay, I know I'm in the film, and I'm glad I appreciate you having me in it, and I'm glad we worked together on that. But how can we work together to do business now? You know, how can we help you sell this film to our audience so they can become educated? You and I can make money together. We keep ourselves in business. It's not about trying to get rich or telling people to watch the throne or buy a private jet. It's really about saying, how do we sustain what we're doing so that we can continue to do what we're doing and not have to go sell ourselves for $1.50 at the big corporation down the street. You know, so I love what you're doing in that regard. And on that note, I'm gonna stop talking and ask you the last question here. You know, what's next for you? You got so much momentum from this film. Everybody's digging it. You know, what's next on the plate for you as far as how you're going to push this project forward?
Well, right now, we got a pre-release date on Amazon. Amazon is going bananas for this documentary.
Yeah.
Yes, if you go on Amazon for the pre-release, which is September 23rd, it tells you that the people that are buying this documentary are buying Hidden Colors, and I don't think I would be wrong to say that Elementary, Genocide, and Hidden Colors are the number 1 and 2 documentary in the country right now. And we talk when I'm saying documentary, I'm talking about urban documentary that's dealing with our plight as a people, documentary that resonates with our consciousness. You know, not no documentary about hip hop or anything else, you know, that you can enjoy in your pastime. This is something that people are holding viewing parties in their house and all across the country with this documentary. I get emails all the time. Excuse me, brother, do you mind if I show you a documentary? You know, I'm not going to be charging nobody, but we're going to show it to a large gathering. I say, yeah, sure. You know, just send me some pictures. You know, that's all I tell them. But all across the country, people are enjoying it. And, you know, we have a follow-up to it, and it's going to be called the Board of Education versus the Board of Incarceration, and we're going to show that the landmark ruling Brown voice versus Board of Education is not what everybody thinks, you know, because integration did more harm than it did good for us. Because there was a time where we had our own schools and we was teaching, and we was producing doctors, lawyers, and people in high society. And then when we integrated, you know, you have someone from outside the community, a different entity come in and teach your kids. And, you know, you can never find nowhere in America where you have a middle-class white community and 75% of the teachers are African-American males or females. And, you know, what they teach our kids is not resonating with them. You know, you got to think, you know, you have these standardized tests that was given by racist eugenics that came up with, you know, the formula of you can measure someone's intelligence by their IQ. And, you know, these are the same people that we have teaching our kids. You know, these people, I tell people all the time, you know, and this is not a racist statement, you know, a lot of these racist bigots will have you believe that, you know, we one chromosome short of being a farm animal.
Wow.
And that's the reality of it. And, you know, just the whole, what I tell a lot of people, the whole education process, right? It was Carter G. Woodson. He said, if you control a person's thinking, you don't have to worry about their behavior. And Western culture educational system is all about controlling a person's thinking. They're not trying to make you entrepreneurs. You're not going to come out of their schools and be a CEO. Yeah, you'll be a manager, but you'll be managing their business and their property. And just the method that they teach, you know, they teach lineal thinking. You know, we have two sides of the brain. You have the left and the right side. And teaching lineal thinking is from the left side of the brain. They don't even look at the right side of the brain that teach your artistic, your critical thinking, analytic thinking. And that's what Afrocentric teaching is about. And I think that's what we need to get back to.
Well, you know, I agree with you. I think that it's, and I think that it's open. It seems like it's open for interpretation in terms of what any parent might think is best for their kids, and you know, so even if it's not necessarily Afrocentric, it has to be something that is central to the idea of allowing your child to survive and to succeed in this country. And I'll tell you that I agree. I co-sign on everything you said. In that, you know, I don't think they want everybody going to college in America. They don't want everybody to be educated. They don't want everybody to be financially literate, because then they don't have any prison inmates that they can make money from. They don't. Corporations don't have, you know, 100 million consumers that they can put deep in debt so that they can make money from them, right? So that's why they don't teach like financial literacy at school, because if you're financially literate, you're less likely to end up deep in debt to a corporation. And it is another funny thing is they say that black people can't create jobs, which is false, because we create a lot of jobs for white people. You know, when we are engaging in excessive consumerism and supporting these corporations that care nothing for us, we're creating lots of jobs for them, and they lean on that consumerism as a way to support their business. But it's so funny how, you know, a person will hem and haw about spending $20 with a black-owned business, but they'll go spend $200 at Walmart and think nothing of it. You know, and you're making them wealthy. I mean, the Walmart children, in fact, I think they said that the Walmart children now have more wealth than the entire African American community combined. They have more wealth than all of us put together, and that should be a clue that we're playing the game wrong. And following some of the advice that comes from your documentary, I think is a great step in that direction, man. So, congratulations on a great project. You know, much success. We're going to continue to talk, continue to work together, and hopefully build something for the next generation, and maybe for this generation too.
All right. I thank you for having me. And in closing, I just want to let everybody know, you know, I like to tell people this all the time, you know, we the holders and keepers of ourself in predicament, and it's upon us, you know, to get this right. You know, we don't need help from the government. We don't need outside entities. And, you know, my brother's keepers, you know, that became cliche when it went to the White House. We always been our brothers' keepers. You know what I mean? And then, our brothers. What about our sisters? And forget that. What about the children? And that's who we need to be focused on. We need to keep the focus on the children.
Well, I love it. Focus on the children. Let me ask you this before I go. I forget about this. Where can people go if they want to get in touch with you, learn more about your film, all that good stuff?
We have a website. It's called elementarygenocide.com. You can go to elementarygenocide.com. And I'm also on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Everything is at Rahiem Shabazz. I kept it simple. Everything is at Rahiem Shabazz.
At Rahiem Shabazz. So everybody, please go check it out. Go follow this brother on Twitter. This is the real deal, and it's and I love the point that he just made about elementary genocide, and also spinning back to my brother's keeper. Understand that that when someone comes along to give you the support that you haven't given yourself, usually that support is going to come with terms and conditions, perhaps even some sort of subtle assimilation. So when corporate America and the White House and politicians come along and say, we want to help you Negroes out, understand that that's not a whole lot different from a young girl starving on the street and a pimp rolling up and saying, I see you're hungry, let me get you something to eat. He's going to want something back in exchange for what he has given. So she's better off getting that support from somebody who cares about her, or getting it from herself. So we have to give our children support from people that care about them, not from people who are going to assimilate them and indoctrinate them into a way of thinking that leads them to abandon their community, because that's really what we've gotten to this point. So thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate your time, man.
All right, thank you. And we're going to get on the phone later on today, man. We're going to talk, and I'm definitely going to get out there to Chicago.
Absolutely.
We need to raise the conscience out there.
It's a done deal, man. It's definitely happening in Chicago. You made the documentary for Chicago. You may not have known that, but Chicago, oh my goodness. I mean, I don't even want to begin to talk about how much of a fit your film is for what people are dealing with in Chicago. So that is going to happen. So people keep following us to keep up with the details. We're going to make this work for you. Everybody, this is Mr. Rahiem Shabazz. Go look him up. Go follow him. Give him your support. And you know me, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. And thank you for checking us out. Until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.
All right.